Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rogers TV Durham's recap show of the 2021 OHL Draft. I'm Adam Dunphy. It's been 15 months since OHL games have taken place, but last month, Oshawa Generals fans finally got something to get excited about again as the team ended up with the second overall selection in the first ever OHL priority selection lottery draft. With that pick, they took Callum Ritchie, but before Callum Ritchie was taken, at number 1, the Sudbury Wolves took Quentin Musty from North Jersey. He led his team to a U16 national championship down in the States this season. As mentioned, at second, the Oshawa Generals get Callum Ritchie from the Oakville Rangers. And with the third overall selection, the Guelph Storm took from the Toronto Young Nationals, Cameron Allen. We get a look there at the first round in the 2021 OHL priority selection. To get their thoughts on the draft, I'm pleased to be joined by Mike Luck and Shane Hollinshead. And Mike, we will start at number 2. It's been quite a while since the Generals had a pick this high. You have to go back to 2006, where they selected Michael Del Zotto with the second overall pick. What do you think of the Callum Ritchie pick?
I think it's a great pick, and I think it's a prototypical Oshawa Generals high-end forward pick. When you look at past drafts from the last several years, the likes of Brett Ritchie, Jack Studnicka, Scott Lawton, and further on beyond that as well, the Generals like to take strength down the middle. And certainly when you get big, strong at 6'1", 175 pounds for Callum Ritchie, you also get a right shot forward. You get a centerman, you get a captain of his team with that kind of leadership. And you also get a guy who's described as a 200-foot game. In fact, Sports Illustrated, they described Callum Ritchie as being the most complete player in his draft class. And so when Sudbury takes a guy like Quentin Musty, which is great, fantastic player, and by the way, the second straight first overall pick for them with a guy named Quentin, but it worked out well the first time. But when they take him, it leaves the door wide open for the Oshawa Generals to basically get the best player available from Ontario or from Canada at that position, and that's exactly what they get in Ritchie. And he's described and compared to the likes of Patrice Bergeron. And if you get anything like that, the Oshawa Generals will be very, very satisfied and thankful to the Sudbury Wolves who took their pick. The Generals move on with theirs.
Yeah, really the trickle-down effect from that first overall pick is felt league-wide. Quentin Musty, a big commit for the Sudbury Wolves. What a fantastic win for Rob Papineau and that organization to get a player of that caliber to commit to the Sudbury Wolves and be selected first overall. But then you see the trickle-down effect. Oshawa Generals sitting there at number 2, and boy, are they ever more than happy to have their pick of the litter in what they deem to be the top 05 Ontario-born player in Callum Ritchie. And the Guelph Storm, they're not too upset either with Cam Allen sitting there at number 3, a nice fleet-footed defenseman to be able to select. So it all starts at the top with Quentin Musty going to the Sudbury Wolves, and from there the trickle-down effect you see. And it's interesting, so often you might see rival teams around the league land a superstar player, and that's not really anything to cheer about for other teams around the league, but that's not the case here when you're talking about the OHL draft. You said it, Mike, the selection of Musty at number 1 opens up the door at number 2 for the Oshawa Generals to take Cal Ritchie, and down the line it goes. Everybody gets a player because of that commitment at number 1.
11 picks in the 2021 OHL priority selection for the Oshawa Generals, and we get a look at them here. And as you see these names, you look to their positions and a bit of a theme developing here. Mike, you touched on it. Center seemed to be the name of the game for the Generals.
Yeah, the Generals like high IQ players, and that tends to be that center category. And, whether or not it's fair to wingers, but you can kind of teach that a little easier. Center is what they look for. You think back to a player like Anthony Cirelli, who they didn't draft but invited to camp. That high IQ, 200-foot type player is who they want. They get that skill with their picks, and they move on from that. When you look down the list, by the way, Calvin DeHaan tweeted today, congratulations to his little cousin, Nick Posthumus. So it works out quite well for the Oshawa Generals, and there's a bit of a connection deeper in that as well.
And a lot of right D as well, and that's a position that's often of need. Very hard to find right-handed shooting defensemen. Now, not sure if all of them are going to play on the right side. I'm sure they'll find their homes if they can make this Oshawa Generals squad. But building a team up the middle, building some depth on the right side of the blue line is definitely a recipe for success for OHL teams. And what'll be really interesting for this 2021 draft class is they're going to be entering camp along with the 2020 draft class, a group of players that didn't get a training camp, that didn't get an OHL season under your belt. So you're really ushering in two draft classes as well as some later round picks from the draft class prior to that. So that'll make an interesting dynamic at training camp. There's two graduating classes as well, which perhaps opens up a whole lot of opportunities and a whole lot of spots in the lineup that you might not necessarily see coming into training camp. So such an interesting dynamic coming into this 2021 season with so many graduating players and so many new players as well from their draft classes.
I think that's such an important point. Two graduating classes of players. And last season was supposed to be the year the Oshawa Generals were going to go all in. They made the moves. They got players like Phil Tomasino. And they're going to have a lot of holes to fill now because players have moved on. So getting that second overall pick was a bit of a boon for this club. Just how important, Mike, do you think getting a player of Callum Ritchie's caliber is going to be for this team?
I think it's huge, Adam. I think it's, as you said, it's an absolute boost to get that because as the Generals were going all in, they were expecting to pick 19th or 20th in this year's draft, having had a very successful and long run in what was supposed to be a full season last year. So with that, they basically get a head start on, not really a rebuild. They don't like to use that word anymore, but a head start on their retooling. They've had great success for Brett Harrison over the summer with the Canada Junior program. And so with that and his abilities, only showcased even more, it means they've got that much better roster leading into this year. And you get a guy like Callum Ritchie, don't forget Matthew Buckley too, and they have some history together, those two. So who knows if there's an instant chemistry there. The Oshawa Generals can consider themselves a leg up moving forward into this training camp.
Yeah, and getting that lucky fall of the ping pong balls, I mean, it was even opportunity for all 20 teams minus the Niagara Ice Dogs who forfeited their first round pick. But getting that second overall pick is big because the Generals didn't have that depth of a draft class. They didn't have a lot of picks because they had moved so many of them to acquire players in what they saw might be a run last year, the season that was canceled. So for them to fill a hole at number 2 with one of the very best, if not the best players in the draft class, that's a big win for the Oshawa Generals in a draft where they didn't necessarily have a surplus of picks. They certainly get a high quality one at number 2 overall in the first round.
We're going to hear from General Manager Roger Hunt after the break, get his thoughts on the 2021 OHL draft. We'll also hear from the second overall pick, Callum Ritchie himself, and some history was also made this year at the draft as the first female player ever selected in OHL draft history was taken. We will also hear from Taya Curry. Stay tuned. You're watching the OHL Draft Recap Show on Rogers TV. Pleased now to be joined by the general manager of the Oshawa Generals, Roger Hunt. Roger, at second overall, you take Callum Ritchie. What do you like about him?
Well, I don't want to, put undue pressure on the young man, but we feel as though we got the best player in the draft. And I don't mean that to be insulting, to Sudbury or Quentin Musty by any chance, but with the larger size viewing that we've gotten to have on Callum over the years is lend itself to us feeling as though we got the best player in the draft. We feel that way. He's excited about being an Oshawa General. It's a win-win, and I think the fans of the Gens are going to be pretty excited in September when it rolls around and you get to see this kid on the ice.
The comparison that's been made for Callum Ritchie is a Patrice Bergeron type of player. Do you think that's a fair assessment, Roger, or is there another player that you'd liken him to more?
You know what? I think Patrice Bergeron is probably a real good comparison. Patrice Bergeron is probably a first ballot Hall of Famer, So it's a lot, and you know, we always try and compare people, so everybody kind of gets an idea. But you know, Callum's going to be his own guy. He's going to be his own player, but he does the things, and people refer to him as a player like Patrice Bergeron because he does a lot of the things that Patrice Bergeron does. He's not one dimensional. He's not just offensive. He's not just good on draws. He's not just good in his own end. Like Patrice Bergeron, he's a complete player. And add elite talent to that level. I never saw Patrice Bergeron play junior, but I think we're going to see a real star here in Callum, and we're excited. Like I said, it's always good to compare people. Sometimes it's unfair, but I think that's a real good comparison to so the fans can get something in their heads early on as to what to expect.
Roger, you mentioned the viewing, and the sample size has been a big talk about the draft leading into this. Can you tell us, you know, what was the scouting process like going into this draft for not only Callum, but all your players, and how hard was it to do?
Well, it presented challenges. The minor hockey, I think, tried their best to have showcase events, and some were skill events, and some were, you know, team play events. So they were the live fire. But I'm telling you, over the last 4 weeks, all we've been doing is pouring over Bandom video, reviewing these videos of some of these camps, or not camps, but prospect ice times we got a chance to go to. So it was a lot of that. It was a lot of communicating with agents, a lot of follow up with coaches. So you really had to stretch your network to make sure that this year you got your best guys. And the only thing that'll be interesting is a lot of these heights and weights they're bantam weights and heights. So, you know, some are. I think Posthumus was 5'9" or 5'10". He's 6'1" now. So you're going to see some guys that you're expecting to walk in at this height, and they come in and they're at this height, which is great. And we did our best to make sure that we got as many viewings as we could, and certainly video was huge over the last little while.
Roger, a unique season coming up in which we're not only welcoming this 2021 draft class, but the 2020 draft class as well. Those players remain unsigned. Was that by design by the Oshawa Generals with the pandemic and the unknowns? And do you expect to sign some of those players? Specifically, of course, a name everybody would be asking about would be Aiden Castle.
Yeah, you know what, that age group was by and large overlooked by the hockey world. Because if I can even take you even a step further, the 03s that never played on our team, you know, Harrison and Michaud, but the other 03s, that draft class, they're almost coming in fresh. And then, as you said, you've got the 04s that never played anywhere last year. They couldn't play anywhere. So you've got that draft class coming in, battling it out for spots. And now we've got the absolute fresh 05 class. So there's 3 age groups that this actually touched. You know, on September 4th, we're going to have, you know, some of those 04s signed, and along with the 05s, and further some 03s.
Well, Roger, it's been a busy weekend for you. Thank you for taking some time out to discuss all your selections, this 2021 priority selection.
It's a pleasure. Anytime talk hockey, it's I'm down for it. So thanks, guys.
Roger Hunt, the general manager of the Oshawa Generals. We're pleased now to be joined by the 2nd overall pick in the 2021 OHL priority selection, Callum Ritchie. Callum, first of all, congratulations. What went through your mind when you got the news that you'd be heading to Oshawa?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of the organization, and yeah, I'm really excited to get started, and I know the fan base is incredible. So I'm just looking forward to get started.
Callum, OHL Central Scouting compared your game to a Patrice Bergeron. Is that a fair comparison? You like that, or who do you model your game after?
Yeah, I really love that comparison. He's definitely been one of the best players in the league for a long time now, and he's really good offensively and can generate lots of offense. But I think the thing that makes him the difference between him and other players is just how he plays without the puck and how he does little things. And that's what you'll see from me as fans is I think I'm a smart player and try to do the little things really well. And I like to generate offense as well. I like to be creative, and I think it should be a fun time in Oshawa.
Callum, 4 Oakville Rangers selected in the top 10, 5 in the first round in total. As captain of that team, how excited were you? How proud were you? And how many text messages were flying around last night?
Yeah, it was extremely exciting. Yeah, my phone was blowing up. It lagged for a bit. I think it got broken just because so many people were reaching out. Yeah, it was super exciting for our team, and I think we could have even had more guys drafted in the first round, to be completely honest. So we had a great team and great coaching. So I can't thank them enough for that. And we wouldn't be here today without each of our teammates, and I wouldn't be in the situation without all my teammates and coaches and all my trainers and everyone else who's been a part of the journey. So yeah, I'm really thankful for that.
You had a surprise visitor I saw at your house last night. The Generals posted a video on Twitter with you getting a bit of a welcome package, which included your Oshawa Generals jersey. How surprised were you by having that visitor?
Yeah, that was unreal. Yeah, so leading up to the draft, my family was watching it, and I said, how funny would it be if people showed up and I had no idea, and I was just being totally sarcastic. And my parents knew, but they hadn't told me. And yeah, so I saw my name get picked, and my phone got called by about 6 different people, and I had to make sure I picked the call from Roger Hunt, and I was on the phone with him, and then I was walking upstairs to get better service, and then someone knocked on my door, and it was super exciting, and I was so confused at the same time, but it was definitely one of the coolest experiences of my life.
Callum, I understand you've had a chance now to go to Oshawa, see the rink and the facility, and then the dressing room there, and get your picture taken in your actual Oshawa Generals gear. As you get ready for a training camp, and let's hope it's a regular one, how good will it be to see familiar faces there, including Matthew Buckley, who the Generals took in the second round?
Yeah, that's extremely exciting. I saw he wasn't picked in the second round before Oshawa's pick, and I was hoping they'd pick him, and I thought he would be gone for sure. He's an incredible player, incredible teammate, and the fans will see him. He's just a sniper, but he can also play make, and he's great defensively. So I'm really glad to have that, and we've had great chemistry over the years. So I'm really looking forward to being on the team with him.
Well, Callum, speaking of familiar faces, your older brother Ethan, drafted by Erie, now on division rival Kingston. So I got to ask, that first one-on-one, what's the move? Is it outside, inside, go wide? Chip and chase can also be an answer if you want to choose that one as well.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'd probably try, I don't know, probably just whatever the situation gives, to be honest. But I think most likely probably shoot through the screen. He has a really good stick, and he's good. He usually has good gap control, and so I'm just trying to get a puck on that in that situation. I'm probably not going to get around him, but we'll see.
Well, Callum, once again, congratulations on your second overall selection of the Oshawa Generals. I know it's going to be a busy summer for you getting prepped for the OHL. Thank you for taking some time to speak with us, and best of luck going forward.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. I'm really just looking forward to getting started with the Oshawa Generals. It's such a great organization, and everyone in it seems like great people. So I'm really looking forward to getting started.
Callum Ritchie, the second overall pick to the Oshawa Generals. It was a big weekend for Callum, and it was a big weekend for hundreds of other young hockey players who heard their name called in the OHL priority selection. As we go to break, let's take a look at the Durham talent who was drafted. Some history was made at the 2021 OHL priority selection with the drafting of goaltender Taya Curry by the Sarnia Sting. She becomes the first female player ever taken in the OHL draft, and we're pleased to have her join us now. Taya, how does it feel to make history?
Oh, it's awesome. I'm so thankful Sarnia took this opportunity to take me. I just don't even know what to say.
You're definitely a groundbreaker in the OHL, Taya. Manon Royaume did it before in the NHL, a bit before your time, obviously. But now that you're an OHL goaltender, let's find out a little bit about your style. Who do you model your game after?
Yeah, I model my game after Shan Zavodov. She's a great overall goaltender. I'm a very quick, athletic goaltender. I love the splits from side to side. Shan Zavodov has a great blocker and glove hand. Yeah.
Taya, have you thought about your future plans anymore now that Sarnia has drafted you? A lot of female players go the NCAA route, but you can't go the NCAA route if you play in the OHL. Do you sort of have a way that you're leading at this point?
Yeah, I haven't really made a decision. I'm going to talk to my family about it. I mean, I'd definitely be such a great opportunity to play in the OHL with some amazing hockey players, and that's in Ontario. But honestly, I haven't really decided. I mean, my education is very important also. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely so. And I guess, moving forward as well, this is a whole new level to the dream, because I can only imagine that as you were growing up and playing hockey, you just wanted to play for fun. This is now all of a sudden a new opportunity that I'm not sure you even knew was coming.
No, I didn't. I really didn't. I just love the game. It's fun playing with boys. We're like a family. We're so close and competitive with each other.
Taya, an inspiration to so many young girls across Ontario. I, for one, am going to tell my 9-year-old daughter the news and show her when I get home. How does that feel to know that you can be such an inspiring story to so many young girls across Ontario?
It's great. It's awesome to inspire so many young females. Just follow your own dream, follow your own path. No one needs to tell you what you need to do with your life. Just take a different opportunities. Make that chance in life that can really change your career.
Taya, congratulations once again on making history, and all the best on your playing career as you move forward.
Thank you so much.
Taya Curry, the first female player selected ever in the history of the OHL draft. She goes to the Sarnia Sting. The Oshawa Generals draft 11 players of their own. Mike, what do you think of their draft class?
I think it's been a phenomenal couple of days now for the Oshawa Generals I guess really a couple of months, and first getting that lottery selection, getting the second overall pick, and the boost that we talked about from that. And then to get the player at the level of Callum Richie as their first pick and the first round pick, I think is just a phenomenal coup, really, for the Oshawa Generals. They get a guy who's should be ready to get right in the lineup right away, and future leadership possibilities. You look down the lineup of what they've done. Roger Hunt said he likes to go strong down the middle, and they really took care of that category very well. They've got a lot of center strength and depth through the next few years. And as this has all gone on over the past year, it's been so crazy and so tough on everyone in all sorts of industries. But I got to tell you guys, it's great just to think positive about hockey again, to talk hockey and think about the possibilities of getting back to the rink. It's great to see you guys again. Great to think about the Oshawa Generals, and for their fans, I'm sure chomping at the bit to get back at it. Shane, can't wait to see you at the rink again, bud.
Yeah, same here, pal. And this really is feeling like a turning of the corner. So much has been what's happened in the past, the rear view mirror. Are we going to be able to play? Will there be a season? Of course, the Generals were hoping to host the Memorial Cup. So much heartbreak and sadness over the past 12 months about not being in the rink and not seeing these players on the ice. But this is a turn of the corner. Now we start to look forward. There's a new draft class. You start to think about when training camp might start and the battles that will come with that, the players getting back in the ice, seeing people around the rink. At least we hope so, with fans in the seats as vaccines continue to roll out. So I look at this draft week and the priority selection as really a turning of the corner, not looking back so much as we have, but now starting to look forward. And it really is just an exciting time. I know we've all exchanged messages about the excitement of preparing for this show, and it just feels good to be back again. And now you start to really think about what we're going to see on the ice. And that to me is very interesting with this Oshawa Generals club and all the clubs across the OHL. 2 graduating classes. That opens up a lot of holes in rosters and a lot of opportunities for not 1, but 2, maybe even 3 draft classes, as we heard Roger Hunt discuss, coming into the mix and who can make the team and who can battle. The other thing is the progression of players in the Ontario Hockey League. Season to season, we see such great leaps and bounds. Well, now we're looking at a 2-year jump with a player like Brett Harrison, a player like Ty Tullio, who could really grab this league by the neck and really start to establish themselves as star players. I think you're going to see a real big jump in quality of play from some players that were in year 1 and year 2, now that we've been away for more than 12 months. And it's just exciting to think about the prospect of seeing how these young men have developed on the ice and seeing the new draft classes as well joining the team and fighting for battles.
The plan is October. We all know with COVID-19, things don't really go according to plan, but hopefully things will continue going in the right direction and we will get this pandemic under control and we will be back at the rink in October. I know Mike, Shane, you're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. And I know you at home watching are looking forward to it, to October. We can't wait to see you again, to see some live Oshawa Generals hockey. For Mike Luck, Shane Hollinshead, and our entire Rogers TV crew, I'm Adam Dunphy saying so long.